Hey guys, so today I will be doing my 2020 NHL Stanley Cup playoff predictions. So I'll be doing this using the NHL Bracket Challenge as the qualifying rounds just wrapped up yesterday with the Leafs losing to Columbus 3-0 as they technically missed the playoffs along with the Oilers, Penguins, Jets, Predators, a lot of teams that probably should have made the playoffs are now out, and we have teams like Montreal over here and Chicago making it to the playoffs, which is very interesting. So I'm just going to do my predictions here. I'm going to select which teams I think will move on and will win the Stanley Cup. Also, just remember to quickly scroll down and hit that like button below. I don't have an actual like goal, but let's try to get up to 10 likes this video, and maybe we can bump up our like goal next time if we do reach that amount of likes. And also, if you haven't already, make sure to smash the subscribe button. We are now at 75 subs. In the comments below, tell me if you'd like to see more mixtape videos and, well, really just highlight videos from previous games, as I have two already, one for the Habs Penguins Game 1 in the qualifying round and one for the Leafs Blue Jackets Game 4 in the qualifying round, so I will probably make some more highlight videos for some of the games in this first round in the actual playoffs. So let's get started. I am going to start in the East with Philadelphia, Montreal. Now, I am a Habs fan, and I think this is probably going to be close, but Philly is the first seed. They beat Boston, Washington, and Tampa. So I just don't see how Montreal can win. I mean, Pittsburgh's a bit older, and they didn't play as well, but I don't think Carey Price will be enough to beat Philadelphia, especially as Carter Hart, and their goaltending, I think, is a lot more stable than Pittsburgh. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia here, the 1 seed. Next up, Tampa Columbus, the rematch from last year where Columbus swept Tampa. This time, I think the story will be different. Tampa is going to be loaded with some more playoff experience. So Tampa is going to come in with the win here. And Columbus did upset Toronto, but it won't be enough. And Tampa will win this series. Next up, we have Washington and the New York Islanders. I think this will actually be a pretty close series. I see this going to 7 games. And this is actually a close one. Now, I think the series depends on how Washington's goaltending is. If they can get Samsonov to go on a hot streak or Holtby to play like he does normally and play like an elite goaltender, Washington gets the win. And Washington is clearly better than the Islanders on paper, but the Islanders as a team play really well. But I think I'm going to have to go with Washington here. I'll give the Islanders one more year. And if they can prove that they can be a really good team next year as well and make the playoffs, then I think they could go on a decent playoff run. But next year they will have Noah Dobson, Oliver Wahlstrom. They'll have some more young forces ready. So I'm going to go with Washington for this one. Now we have, I think, the most interesting series in the East, Boston, Carolina. Boston was the first seed in the whole entire NHL. They won the President's Trophy, but Carolina swept the Rangers. The only sweep in the qualifying rounds, and Boston didn't win a single game in the round robin. So I want to go with Carolina, and this is not going to be biased because I hate Boston, but I do think Carolina, especially with their stacked defense and their team's pretty healthy now, I feel like that they are going to be able to beat Boston. Tampa was the 1 seed last year. They lost the first round. You know what? I'm going to go Carolina. It's going to be a hot take. Disagree all you want in the comments. I'm going to say Carolina beats Boston. Also, it's 2020, so who knows. Now, moving on to the first round in the West, Vegas, Chicago. I'm going to go Vegas, though. I don't think Chicago will be able to beat Vegas. They got Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, Alex DeBrincat, obviously Dominic Kubalik, but their defense is not that great. Duncan Keith is their best defenseman. He's only at best a number 2 defenseman. You could even say a second pairing defenseman. And Corey Crawford is now old, and he isn't necessarily an elite goalie. But Vegas has all that star power. They got Mark Stone. Max Pacioretty, Shea Theodore, Fleury, and net. If he can play well, I think Vegas can easily win this series. Now we have Colorado, Arizona. I think Colorado gets the easy win in this series. People may disagree, but I don't think that Arizona will be any match for Colorado, as Arizona isn't that great of a team. Taylor Hall did not play that well with Arizona after he got traded. Phil Kessel has had a disappointing year as well with Arizona. And Colorado, they are just way too stacked, especially Cale Makar. If he can show up in the playoffs, that would be great for Colorado. So they got the win here. Now, Dallas, Calgary. This is probably the closest series here. I think these are two very even teams, and Dallas definitely has more experience, but I think Calgary, if David Riddick plays well, then this team can definitely make it a series against Dallas. And actually, a lot of these series rely on goaltending, but I have to go with Dallas. They got the better goaltender, and they've got that playoff experience, so they are going to go play Colorado. And here in this next series, we have St. Louis and Vancouver. So, St. Louis, defending Stanley Cup champions, or they won Stanley Cup last year, but Vancouver had a good season, and they've got Elias Pettersson, they've got Brock Besser, they've got a lot of really good young players at forward. People are going to hate on me in the comments if I do pick Vancouver. I do have a feeling, though, that they might win, but this is a tight one. St. Louis is the 4 seed in the West, so probably the two best teams on paper in the West or in the league get the 4 seed Boston and St. Louis. But I think I'm going to have to go with St. Louis here playing against Vegas. So, moving on into the second round, we have Philly, Carolina. And Philly, they're definitely very hot coming into the playoffs. They played really well in the qualifying rounds or round robin. Carolina swept the Rangers, who had a really, really good end to the season right before the season paused, and it pretty much became the end of the season before the qualifying rounds. But I think I'm going to go with Philadelphia here for this series. Next up, we have Tampa, Washington. I have to go Tampa all the way. This year is this year. They are going to make the conference finals against Philadelphia. Now the West. Vegas, St. Louis. This is a hard one. This is a very hard one. Binnington has got to play really good against Vegas, but I think this is a close series. You know what? Vegas lost in the first round last year. I have to give it to Vegas. I think this is the year where they are going to make the conference finals, and they're going to make a run for it. St. Louis won last year. I don't think that they can come back and repeat this year. For Colorado, Dallas, I am going to go Colorado because they've got McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog, Makar. I think even though they don't have that much playoff experience and they're very young, their star power will just be too much for Dallas. So now in the conference finals for the East, we have Philly and Tampa. And this really just depends on how well these two teams play, as Tampa is probably the better team, but Philadelphia has been playing really well. And they've made it this far into the conference finals, so I can see them making the Stanley Cup final, but I'm going to give it to Tampa. They lost in the first round, as I said earlier, to Columbus in the first round. Year before that, they lost in the conference finals as well. I think it was to Washington. The year that they don't win the President's Trophy, they make the finals. Now, for the conference finals in the West, we have Vegas, Colorado. We actually have both the 1 and 2 seeds on both sides. And I'm going to go Colorado. Vegas made the final in their inaugural season, but this is going to be a very close series. I see it going to 7 games, but Colorado is able to make the final. and have their first big playoff run with this core of Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Landeskog, and Cale Makar. And now we have Tampa and Colorado in the finals. I'm going to give it to Tampa. This is their year to win. Colorado has got like 10 more years to win the cup, and they will. And for the amount of goals scored in the Stanley Cup final for the whole series, well, I don't know. I think probably going to be 4 or 5 goals each game. And Tampa's got good goaltending. Colorado, Grubauer's okay, but I'm just going to say 32. Why not? 32 goals in the final. So now we have the bonus round. Yeah, so the number of games for these matchups. Philadelphia, Montreal, I will say, I think it's going to go to 6. I don't think Philadelphia will be able to get the sweep. I don't think Montreal can take it to 7 games. Carey Price will be able to steal a couple games. Right now, he's the best goalie in the world from that Pittsburgh series. So we got this series in 6 games. Tampa, Columbus. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with 5. Now, Korpisalo, if he can play like he did against Toronto in that last game in Game 5 yesterday, I think he can maybe push it to 6, but I'm going to go with 5 here. Washington, New York, I'm going to go with 7. Boston, Carolina, I'm going to say 6. So Vegas, Chicago, I'm going to go with 6, like the Philadelphia-Montreal series. Colorado, Arizona, I'm going to say Colorado actually gets the sweep here. So this is our only sweep. I think Colorado will get the sweep against Arizona, but it could go to 5. Calgary, Dallas, I'm going to also say 7, just like the Washington Islanders series. And St. Louis, Vancouver, I'm going to go with 6. Okay, so now I just got to submit the bracket, and there we go. So, like I said earlier, remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button if you haven't already. But thank you for watching the video, and we will see you in the next one.